Hi everybody, time for a quick look inside Vancouver Public Schools. I'm Nick Voll. Today we have an interesting discussion on how the school district is helping teachers navigate this new world of online learning. But first, some good news for 7 schools in the district. The State Board of Education has honored Fruit Valley, Hazeldale, Houck, Lincoln, Minnehaha, and Salmon Creek Elementaries for making gains in academic outcomes and student attendance. The official recognition will come next week. In addition, Vancouver Flex Academy earned kudos for closing opportunity gaps and improving graduation rates. Congrats to those schools and all the teachers and administrators who are working so hard. With students and teachers at home, learning has changed and we're reliant on technology more than ever. But not everyone has the same comfort level when it comes to that technology, so the district is working hard to train teachers. And joining me now to talk about this some more from the district level, I have Carolyn Connors and Erica Anderson. And from the school level, we've got Ashley Shanto. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Now let's go ahead and start with Ashley. Ashley, where do you teach?
I teach at Harney Elementary.
Okay, and what does your everyday look like now that we're in this sort of new era of teaching and learning?
I have a son who's in kindergarten, and so we wake up in the morning and we both have a schedule through the whole day. I have it some spreadsheet color coded for each of us, and we get some breakfast and I do some reading with him. And then he gets on Zoom with my mother in Ohio for a whole hour while I start my morning session of teaching my 3 book clubs for my class, or we have class meetings in the morning.
And how are you using technology then in your instruction, during your instruction time? What kind of tools are you using with your kids?
So before any of our sessions, I make a presentation usually using Google Slides with materials and the agenda, and that's waiting on the screen when they log in on Zoom. And the kids all have schedules, so they know when to click in to Zoom and dial in. I instruct in Zoom, but sometimes I pre-record things and play the recordings in the Zoom session as well. I use Padlet sometimes, so if we need to post things and share ideas, I will put a link in. The kids will go out to there. I hope to use Flipgrid soon. I haven't used it yet. And Seesaw is a huge one because that's where I give the assignments and communicate. Google Classroom, I also communicate and distribute materials that way. And just using some other apps that we have available in Clever for assessment. Oh, and Raz Kids as well is a good tool.
So a lot of tools then, obviously.
Yeah.
Coming into this, how comfortable were you with technology, and what have been your needs so far from the district?
So I would consider myself an intermediate user of technology, and but the district, what I found, I sat in on what they ran a 2 weeks of excellent training, and I sat in on those for the ones that I felt like I needed. And then I had like little things I needed to work out that I knew nobody else could answer. So I was able to email Erica and say, hey, what about this? Or I'm having this issue. And she was able to respond quickly. Or I went back and watched some of the training sessions that they had recorded. So it was really nice for me to work out my smaller glitches by contacting Erica.
Sure. Well, Erica, that is a good segue into you here. How are you and your team supporting teachers in this time?
Sure. So our role is technically called the digital learning coaches. And so what we have always done and continue to do is work with our teachers and administrators and students to help support the use of the digital tools in the classroom and using them in impactful ways with their instruction, instructional design and delivery. And so when things changed mid-March and we had to transition to this remote learning, we got together right away and started thinking about what can we do not only for our teachers and our students and our administrators in buildings, but how are we going to also support families at this time as well? So we started creating several websites. We have a website that is for teachers, and it's full of teacher resources that are linked to district programs that we're using. So some of the popular ones for workflow, being able to send content to students and get it back, have discussions with students, such as Seesaw and Canvas and Google Classroom. We created a website for parents so that families have a resource that they can go to find information about these programs as well, and some troubleshooting tips. Some of the handouts that our families took home with iPads in the younger grades, we created a lot of those to just support them as well. And we've been joining staff meetings in buildings to offer support, answer questions. We've been doing some grade level team meetings and meeting with PLCs, meeting with teachers one-on-one. Like Ashley said, she reaches out to me when she has some questions about things, and then we can have a conversation about ways that she can make some things work. It's not perfect. There's been a lot of challenges along the way. I think that that everybody would say that, but it's been great to have the opportunity to really be able to collaborate with teachers and to reach out and be able to do that work together and get through those problems together, find solutions. I don't have all the answers. Teachers will stump me almost every single day, and I have to reach out to my team as well, or I have to do some of my own research to find those. So it's new for all of us. Probably our biggest piece that Ashley mentioned a little bit was our online, our Zoom live sessions that we also recorded for teachers. So we ran a full 3 weeks worth of those sessions so that teachers could tune in and join us or watch a recorded session. And Carolyn did a lot of that organization and kind of was the brains behind getting that up and running. So I know that she could give you some more details on that part too.
Sure. Well, Carolyn, why don't you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, so like Erica mentioned, I think that we just realized as we were just kind of caught off guard with the idea that, okay, we're going to be teaching and learning in a remote situation instead of having our students in front of us, which is what teachers thrive. They love having those students in front of us, that we knew that there were teachers kind of all over the board with what tools they were using and how often they were using them in the classroom. And so we just knew that there might be some immediate support needed for being able to provide teachers with materials for where they were at. So sometimes, you know, people were very comfortable with what they were doing in the classroom, and other times they might just be new to the tool. And so the help sessions were kind of created with the idea that teachers could join a live session and be able to receive a brief tutorial around a tool that would be used for that workflow or connecting with their students. And then they would be given the opportunity to ask questions and answers. And so these sessions were also recorded with the idea in mind that we know that the life at home is a little bit different as far as being able to tune in at a specific time to a live session. So we wanted to record the sessions to make it so that it was accessible to teachers at a time that would be convenient to them, and then be able to connect with us for further support if they needed it. So we started those during spring break with the idea that we knew that the remote learning would be happening right after, and we wanted to give teachers the opportunity to be able to participate and feel prepared for anything that they needed to get rolling before the students kind of jumped on board and were part of that process.
Sure. And that seems to feed into this sort of central idea that we've talked about, where this is the new reality. Teachers have to embrace it. Could you kind of talk about getting sort of a change in mindset with some folks, because this is what we're going to be doing for a while?
Yeah, I think that the idea that we just kind of need to embrace the opportunity to take some risks and try things that we haven't tried before. It gives us an opportunity to learn in a new way. And it also, I know that teachers want to be able to reach their students. And so just being able to find the tool that fits with that routine and that structure that was happening in the classroom, and then take that and be able to connect, have their students see their face. I know my daughter, for instance, lights up every time that she just hears her teacher's voice and sees her teacher's face on the screen. And it doesn't have to always happen live. Sometimes that's a recorded video that they're sharing with their students in Seesaw or Canvas or Google Drive. And so it really is about the teacher just finding what they're comfortable with and then just pushing a little bit further and learning another new thing and then figuring out how that fits into that instructional routine so that their students get an opportunity to see and hear from them. And then vice versa, they maybe get the opportunity to hear and see their students' faces in some of these tools that are provided for us, including the Zoom session, or it might be through a Padlet board that they share what they're doing at home and what they're doing with their siblings or with their pet, or how to embrace those things that make them that classroom culture and community and make that part of that routine and process that they're exploring at home now.
Sure. So Ashley, as a teacher, how important would you say it is for your fellow teachers to sort of embrace this?
Well, I would say, just based on some other trainings I've attended to and listening to other experts, I think the message I've heard is the best thing and kindest thing we can do really right now is continue to teach our kids and really lean into this experience. And the most, like Carolyn said, like to your place of comfort and then a little bit further, and trusting that when you get a little bit further, then you're going to get really comfortable. And I think it's really important for us to do the kindest thing we can do for our kids, which is continue to teach. So whether that means I do a couple videos a day and I send the videos out to my kids, or whether it's I get live with my kids every day, and really being there for them. But, we always have to be there for ourselves. I mean, it's, some of my coworkers have many children of their own, and, and I know everybody's just really doing their best.
Sure. Well, so I guess my final question for you guys is, in times of upheaval and, what we're going through now, we have to find new solutions to do things. Are there things now that we're doing that you can see, well, maybe once things kind of get back to normal, this is going to be something I can really do going forward?
It's so strange to think of this as a long-term thing, and I don't want to. I've become a much more efficient teacher, and I write efficient. Like I see that all the time. That I'm like, wow, now I'm really getting to the point much faster now because I have to, because I don't want to keep us on this call any longer than we have to be. Or I'm really listening to my kids better because I don't have all of these things going on around me in the classroom, or all the materials being shuffled around all the time, or making sure, or, and so I'm really honed in on what I'm hearing. And now I know all my kids' voices online. It took me about 3 days. And then I'm like, oh, that's Emilio, or, oh, that's Anya. And it took me a little while, but I've just become much more efficient. And I think I realized what's really important. So when I'm back in the classroom, my focus, I think, will be much more clear.
Sure. Eric and Carolyn, anything that you guys are using right now that you think might be helpful moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like I have this wonderful opportunity to be able to see a lot of what's happening with different teachers and their students, and what kinds of connections that they're making. And so I think not only the connections that they're making with their students in this way, but they're really connecting with families. There's a lot of communication back and forth between parents and teachers and students. And so it really has opened up that window for parents and for families to be able to see what really does happen in the classroom from day to day, and how teachers really do connect with their students, and how it's so much more than just academics. It is those connections that teachers are making, and that community building, and the relationships that they have made with their students. These teachers miss their students like crazy. I know the students miss them, like Carolyn said with her daughter. My son every day would say, have you heard from my teacher? Are we having a Zoom? They miss their classmates, and teachers miss each other. And so I think it's that big connection piece that we're going to be a lot closer together. We're going to have a deeper understanding for all of our role that we all have in raising our children and in their academic experience, and have some more empathy for one another as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say very similar on the lines of Erica, that we're just seeing teachers are pushing themselves to their limits as far as learning new things. I think it's just a really great to see how much teachers are willing to learn to provide opportunities for their students. They want their students to be successful, and they're willing to put in the extra time. They're willing to learn the new tool that they thought that they'd never be able to use. They're pushing themselves in their limits as far as their skills. And I think what we're also seeing is that they're using technology in ways to increase that connection and communication. And I think that some of those things will have a lasting impact when they go back to the classroom. Finding ways that the technology impacts that teaching and learning process and keeping all parties on board, like teachers, students, parents, all these different levels of support. There's just really a team effort to make sure that we're doing the best we can for our students and making sure that that teaching is happening, like Ashley said, and people are willing to do what they need to do to make that happen.
Well, guys, thanks for taking the time to join me. I hope things are going well for you in the classroom, and good luck for the rest of the school year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Parents, there are options out there for you too. The district has put together a remote learning website. Head to welearn.vansd.org. You'll find a wealth of knowledge on there, and if you scroll down just a bit below the main picture, you'll also find a link to a remote learning support site and also a phone number to call to get help during office hours. Really encourage you to take advantage of that resource if you need it. And that's it for this quick look report. We'll see you next time. I'm Nick Voll. Thanks for watching.